We had an extremely busy year in Monmouth County, and some of the things we're going to touch a little bit on is we launched our MedStar program, we launched Monmouth Acts navigation system, we declared Craft Beverage Month in Monmouth County, our Monmouth County Vocational School Districts won many awards, our tourism industry had record-breaking beach revenues, we hosted shared service summits, library headquarters renovations were completed, we administered municipal land preservation programs. The county hosted multiple Monmouth County job fairs. We hosted a 250 summit. We've been to municipalities going there. We'll talk a little bit along with my co-chair, Christine Hanlon. We made some tough decisions on our reclamation center, which worked out for the best. And we published our first 2 editions of the Monmouth Minute, which might sound like it's a small thing, but it's a way to get to our 650,000 people what the county is all about. So they know in their tax base what they're getting for that there. And we work very hard to try to keep that there. A lot of things that occurred, and I'll start with the top one that I mentioned. Initially, we rolled out in 2024 as a $3 million pilot program to support local volunteer squads. The result has been overwhelmingly positive, with average response times, and I want to credit our sheriff, Sean Golden, for his leadership and his knowledge. And I, not to put him on the spot here, but at the end of the day, no other county probably could jump into it the period of time we did because they don't have someone at the helm that knows that world and the experience. And we were fortunate. Sean, great job. It has been extremely positive received, and good round of applause for that. Some of the highlights, we answered more than 6,000 calls were answered. 3,800 patients were transported to hospitals. Average response time for you municipal leaders, average response time, 5 minutes and 28 seconds. That's the key. That is the key to all of this. We hired 75 EMTs, paramedics, 17 ambulance licensed and placed in service, which I'll talk about that expense in a little bit. So we put that into place, and our operating costs, our salary costs, all those positions, it's something that, you can't put a dollar figure on safety. And, and that is the realm that I know our mayors think here in Monmouth County, both Democrat and Republican. And that's probably one of the biggest advantage we have over other counties, because once we start working, we work together through both parties, and that's why we're so successful. We are the model when it comes to that, and it's recognized throughout the state of New Jersey by far. Obviously, probably one of the most visible things that we see here is our bridges, our engineering, because they're very, very visible. I want to commend Joe Attore for the fine work he does. He is the guru of engineers in the state, and everybody recognizes that, and he works tirelessly throughout. So some of the improvements that we're doing there, W17, the Glendola Road Bridge, stormwater filtration system maintenance, we're again making sure infrastructure is running properly, but there becomes a cost with that. And that's something that we have decided that that's an investment. It's an investment to why people want to live here. And that's the key to it. It's twofold. We just talked about what our valuation is. There's a reason why. It's doing things like this. Division of Highway, which this goes to our municipalities. Annual overlay program. We roughly make sure that we put somewhere around $10 million or more per year to make sure that we have a long-term plan in our 53 municipalities to have an overlay program there. And at the end of the day, we could miss a year. Nobody would know because we're so large, but it's not the right thing to do. Division of Fleet Services. Obviously, we are currently mentoring 3 students from the Monmouth County Vocational School with the hopes of being able to hire some of these students. That's what we're doing right now. Not everybody wants to go to college. Not everybody is in that career. You know, they could go in the law enforcement career. They could come and work from the county. It's our goal to make it a desirable place. The sheriff's doing it there with the 911 dispatching center. We're trying to do that again with public works, engineering, human services, social services, of course, our county colleges. We're going to continue to make sure that works. Under the shared service program, Fleet completed 766 tasks, which approximately cost $600,000, which includes fuel and vehicle washes. That's a shared service, so, fuel and vehicle washes, because we buy it at a higher commodity there. That's the goal. We buy it. We don't lose money. We just save you money, and that's the ultimate goal. Provide, obviously, services support the recently established MedStar ambulance program while continuing to support Monmouth County fleet services. You know, I see Monmouth Beach here. I see Rumson here. And we have some big projects coming down there. One is being done now. It's 80% complete. And that's the Rumson-Seabright Bridge there. That bridge, but what is unique about that bridge when you go into the state of New York or you go into all those other areas? When you shut down a bridge in those states or in those other counties, the bridges are shut down. Find an alternate route. That's not the way we operate here. We make sure we give our residents still the ability to utilize those roads alternatively. As you could see, we worked through this whole period keeping that bridge open. We'll shut it down for a week to two when we have to transition. It will be before Memorial Day. It will, right, John and Joe? It will be before Memorial Day. And you heard that? Yes, guys. So the Glimmerglass Bridge, I don't know what to say. 15 years, 20 years, they've been talking about it. They've been saying it had to be replaced and not just repaired. Okay, we dove in. We dove in, and we received and will receive roughly $200 million of funding to offset that. That's a big project, very controversial project. But what we did do is we dove in and we met with the representatives. The people of Rumson now are asking us, when are we doing it? When are we starting? We're in the design period right now. We're going to move forward there. Since 2020, we have received, this is a crazy number, we have received over $244 million in federal and state funding for various critical transportation projects. I mean, it's huge. It's gigantic offset and impact that people behind the scenes are working to make sure that these projects are happening. Our vans are going to be all wrapped and modeled, and they're going to be called Ride in Monmouth. That's what you're going to see riding down here, Ride in Monmouth. We're also going to advertise on those buses to offset revenue for us to be able to continue and expand those services. Those are all positive things. It's time to change some of the old guard a little, okay, modernize it a little, make it a little bit more exciting, upbeat, and that's our ultimate goal. So we're looking forward to the Ride in Monmouth. The initiative for this will be rebranding of it. As I said, as part of the rebranding, the division would like to go on a tour of the county, meeting with various senior centers, veteran halls, and other community organizations, letting them get a first-hand look at a bus with a new logo and to learn the details of what we service. Economic development, obviously, is key. All of us thrive on economic development. John Ciuffo, thank you for your service here and helping that there. Everybody knows, I don't think I have to go too far on our Made in Monmouth. You know, what can I say? This past year, you know, the sheriff had a device in there that was monitoring people there, and I got the numbers. I still didn't know if it was true, but he says it was true. There, you know, you got to believe the sheriff. And so there, we had a tremendous amount of people attend our Made in Monmouth. The numbers that people made, the businesses, were unbelievable. They said it's their best Saturday ever. Grown in Monmouth, we're working with our ag industry and our businesses to continue to make that a viable partnership with all that. We're continuing to create new things. Brewed and distilled in Monmouth, was extremely successful this last year. After that success, we decided, what can we do this year? What can we do in Monmouth this year? Being Italian, Nick being Italian, Ross being Italian, we said, let's do something Italian. And we decided, let's do Slice in Monmouth. And that's going to be our new initiative this upcoming year. So with that being said, we're going to put the Italian flag in front of the Hall of Records. And, but no, all seriousness, we are now going to be promoting all of our local pizzerias. Think about that. What field, what industry has more businesses there? And we're going to have a very exciting opening. I'm not going to give any details of it, but you definitely will see it there. And it's something that, you know, it's something to continue the process of marketing the business world here. All this is also for a way for us to basically drive people here. And it's twofold. Because, you know, once Memorial Day comes, you know, probably half of us are complaining you can't get to your destination. But at the end of the day, we got to think selfishly, okay? Unselfishly, I should say, that the businesses need these people here to survive. So what does our tourism do? Carolyn, I want to thank you very much. You did a phenomenal job this year. This was by far, I think, our best tourism year since I've been here. So great job, Carolyn. Record-setting beach bag revenue we had, award-winning digital experience. We received these awards, okay? But if we received these awards, we did it for the beaches. So the beaches, they gained from this. Sponsored over 65 Monmouth County events. So we take our dollars, go to your events, and sponsor them for a fee there. Significant social media growth, and coming soon, our tourism newsletter. Stay tuned for the upcoming newsletter delivering the latest tourism news and events straight to your inbox. It's going to be game-changing, and it's going to bring more traffic, but it's going to be game-changing. So as I talked about before, you know, I do, again, want to thank Tara for hitting the ground running. Obviously, we know all our shared service programs, as you could see throughout here, that we do, and how we're going to continue to move forward. I want to thank the sheriff for probably our biggest initiative, and that is our 911 dispatching center. Listen, for all the municipalities that are not part, and you know, I'm going to be the salesman here, okay, for all of our municipalities that are not part of it, I know the mayor had to leave for another meeting. If the mayor of Middletown and the town of Middletown could be part of our shared service, the largest municipality in the state of New Jersey, there is no reason whatsoever every town should not see the cost savings and should not be part of the innovative type of building. Drive to it and witness it, tour it, and when you walk out of there, you'll be marveled on what's there. And there's not nobody that has gone inside that building that could not say different. This upcoming year, one of the examples of the collaboration with the Tourism Shared Service, municipalities will be able to request the printing of literature that is focused on attracting visitors to their downtowns and to their respective areas, while highlighting tourism activities in the area to increase the local economy and provide COVID relief, okay? We're past that now, okay? Now it's just building big, okay? COVID's not here, the flu's here, okay? We now have to move forward, okay? And just keep advancing and going through there. The following will be made available through Monmouth County Shared Service Program. Rack cards, to-do pads, postcards. Each tourism partner may order up to 5,000 printed materials of any combination of a camera-ready design. These are all things to enhance the bottom line. Business. It's all going to turn to business when it's all done. We launched our digital newsletter series. Highlights our shared service programs and our municipal partners and all those other areas. We take a page, all of us, including our constitutional officers, take a page of highlights. Our administrator takes the highlights of all the things that are going on here in Monmouth County. So in closing, basically what this is meant for is to let everybody know what the county's about, who the county is, and I say this over and over, and I did not say this years ago. It is the most vital part of government today because it's the layer between the state and our municipalities that has the ability to make all the decisions. And the five of us, along with our administration, make all the decisions. And all those decisions are made on one thing, the betterment of the municipalities and the betterment of the 650,000 residents of Monmouth County. But in the same effect, when things go bad, that's on us too. But at the end of the day, the one thing I could tell elected officials, and I've learned over the course of years, things are going to go bad, and they go bad for us all the time. Just don't stick your head in the sand. Just fight it, make the right decision, which I think we've done in most cases here, and move forward. But ultimately, for all of our partners, our trades, our towns, our chambers, our employee staff, our constitutional officers, my team, our team here, we're a team. And if we continue to work together, enhance on these initiatives, move forward, we'll continue to make Monmouth County the best county in the state of New Jersey.
Unlock your future at Brookdale, New Jersey's #1 community college, with access to 70 programs, competitive esports, and seamless transfer pathways to top universities. Embark on a journey where affordability meets quality. Visit brookdalecc.edu today.
We have a very big county. We have 53 towns in Monmouth County. Obviously, we're in the winter season, and ultimately it could be the snowy season. And so we decided, how can we get our children to be excited about the snow plowing season? So we said, let's have a contest of all of our students in Monmouth County. Students were invited to submit a letter to the Board of Commissioners naming a snowplow, explaining the reasoning behind their chosen name, and providing tips for staying safe during the snowstorm. Every time you guys are driving around the streets of Freehold Township and you see this plow, you are going to say, we know who designed that plow. So I am about to announce this, but I don't do it unless I get a drum roll. And the winner is Jackson Belegi! Woo! Come on up! Come on up, Jackson! And the winner is Jackson Matiola. Good job. Good job. Good
Over 18,000 students annually, flexible schedules, commitment to student success. Welcome to Brookdale. Convenience of physical campuses throughout Monmouth County. Freehold, Long Branch, Neptune, Lincroft, and Wall. Plus our 7th campus, online. Brookdale will help you craft and share your story.
Seeking ways to build management skills and improve global citizenship? Brookdale has nationally recognized academic and leadership programs designed to facilitate local and global communities, all while enhancing your leadership skills. Phi Theta Kappa and the National Society of Leadership and Success are both national honor societies that foster academic excellence and meaningful initiatives. Other Brookdale-based programs such as Honors, Global Citizenship Distinction, Women in Learning and Leadership, and the Innovation Network Club all offer you a chance to transform your individual path by developing a global mindset. Whatever your choice, these programs reward conscientious and creative minds at graduation with honors, distinctions, and certificates of recognition. Brookdale's leadership programs will elevate both you and our community for the better. Brookdale offers an amazing campus life.
Welcome to the Veterans Corner segment of Monmouth in Focus, a program about the services and functions of Monmouth County government. I'm Susan Kiley, Monmouth County Deputy Director of the Commissioners and the liaison to the Division on Aging, Disabilities, and Veteran Services. Today, we will meet Vietnam War veteran Chuck Welsh. Thank you for coming. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It's my pleasure.
I have so many questions, but why don't we start off with why did you join the Marines?
Interesting story. I didn't actually join the Marines. They kind of joined me.
Oh, got it.
On the day before Thanksgiving in 1968, I got my draft notice.
Wow.
Don't ask me why I didn't expect it, you know, considering the times,
yeah.
But I ended up being inducted into the service in early December 1968. And when I arrived at the induction center, there were about 80 of us that were getting drafted that day, most of whom would go into the Army. In the draft notice I got, there was fine print at the bottom after the greetings and the direction and all that, suggesting that if you're inducted into the Army, you would be transported to Fort Jackson for receiving, and then you would be sent home for holiday leave. Then there was more fine print that said if you're inducted into the U.S. Marine Corps, none of the above applies. So when we got to the induction center, we were all in one big room, and the first thing they asked us was who would like to volunteer for the Marine Corps. Now, we were all draftees, so probably most of us were kind of hesitant about the whole situation anyway, so nobody raised their hand. So they, long story short, they picked 8 people. I happened to be one of them.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That's how my Marine Corps service began.
It's a heck of a... the first thing I think when I think about being drafted, and were you deployed right away over to Vietnam?
After training, yes.
Yeah. See, to me, that's terrifying. I just can't imagine what that must have been like.
Yeah, I expected that I would get some kind of a decent position because I had a couple of years of college. I had an associate's degree in business management. After I graduated from that 2-year school, that's when I took a job and then ended up getting drafted. But I could type. I learned in school how to take shorthand. I took bookkeeping. You know, I was very business oriented. But that was just a fleeting thing, the idea that I was going to get some kind of a soft job. I
was going to say, you know, you have 3 Purple Hearts, and I know you didn't get them at a typewriter.
For sure. That's for sure. You know, the funny thing is I ended up, I'll talk to you about it later if we get a chance, but I ended up on a typewriter, but that's another story too.
Okay. So tell me about the duty that you had while you were there.
In Vietnam. Well, after pretty extensive training, I trained for 8 weeks at Parris Island, another 8 weeks at Camp Lejeune, and then another 5 weeks at Camp Lejeune substation where I went to machine gun school. People like me who were drafted that late in the war were considered to be reinforcements. So I didn't go over to Vietnam with a unit. We went as individuals, and then were assigned to a unit when we got there. So that was kind of interesting because you come in as a new guy, and that has a whole interesting feel to it.
I can imagine. Yeah. I can imagine. So, and were you like front lines active duty?
Yes, front lines active duty. My unit was Mike Company, 3rd Battalion, 7th Marines, and we were what's called a swing battalion. So we would set up shop in a certain combat base, and then maybe 3 weeks later we'd be going somewhere else, because they had a tendency to deploy us wherever they needed help, which is an indication about what kind of environment you would be in.
Right, right.
Because if they needed you there, that meant it was a hot area.
Got it,
So,
got it.
a lot of routine patrols, ambushes, things like that were part of our duties.
We're going to start to run out of time. So I'd like to ask you about one of your memories that makes you feel good, and what lesson you might give to others that are going
Sure.
into the service.
The one thing that makes me feel good is the way I adapted to the expectations of being in the situation I was in. And I remember that the gunnery sergeant who inducted us, when he walked into the room and the 8 of us were sitting there, the first thing he said to us was, "Congratulations, you're about to be inducted into the world's finest fighting force." And it kind of made me swell up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then when I went to boot camp, I ended up, having a real positive attitude and learned how to lead a little bit. I never had that in me when I was a younger boy. I never was noticed or did anything significant. So I ended up being the honor man of my platoon, graduated in front of my mother with full dress blues.
Oh, that's wonderful.
That was cool. That was
That's
very
wonderful.
cool. And then with that comes the whole idea that even the hardest things can teach you something if you have the attitude that you're going to overcome them. And it really has followed me my entire life. I've had a great career as an educator. I retired as a middle school principal, and there was never anything that was so significant or so difficult as what I faced when I was 20 years old.
Wow.
And that was the biggest lesson I took from it, that I try to impart to other people. You're either a victim or a beneficiary of the way you think.
That's great. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have. But I'd like to thank Chuck for joining us and sharing your experience in the Marine Corps. That's all that we'll talk about today, but we will see you again.